Hi, my name is Chris, and I'm going to be demonstrating the installation procedure for an Atheneum Masternode. Okay, so let's get right into it. First, let's cover what you're going to need and a couple of basic concepts. To start with, obviously, you're going to need the Atheneum wallet for your operating system. So whether it's Mac, Linux, or Windows, you need to download the proper binary files, run it, and synchronize it. We're going to cover that later on in the video. Then you're going to need a VPS like Vultr, DigitalOcean. There's other providers as well. We're going to be working with Vultr in this example. They're not the cheapest, but they're very stable. And one thing that I like with my VPS is stability. I don't mind paying a couple of bucks more a month so that they don't go down and I don't have to constantly reboot them and whatnot. You know, when you run a bunch of nodes, it becomes a pain in the butt if they're not stable. Or a self-hosted machine that is on 24/7. That means that you would have to build up your own Linux-based machine and host the binaries there yourself. But I'm not going to cover that because it's a little bit more advanced. So we're just going to be covering a VPS scenario such as a Vultr. Also, you're going to need to be able to communicate and interface with the VPS. So you're going to need SSH software. Now, Linux and Mac have that built in. Windows is going to require something called PuTTY. It's open source software that you can just download. I'll show you how that works as well later on. So now that we've got the bases covered, let's jump into getting your wallet set up and wallet safety. Okay, so let's go ahead and download the binaries. So the Windows wallet, if you're running Windows, if you're running Ubuntu, this one right here where it says Qt wallet, and same thing for Mac OS, which is the Mojave wallet right there. I'm running Ubuntu, so I'll be downloading this wallet here, but the procedure is going to be the same no matter what wallet you're using. So I'm going to save that file to the default locations. So I'm done with this. Let's close this and double click on this. Yeah, that's fine. Extract the file there. And so you've got the wallet right there. So when you double click on this, you'll get your wallet. I have gone ahead and done a shortcut to this already in my taskbar, so I'm going to work with this. So you open your wallet. The first time you open it up, it could take a few seconds or not. And it will immediately start syncing. We've got seed nodes, actually several seed nodes that make it so that the network syncs very rapidly. So before doing anything else, wait for this to sync up down there. I'm going to pause the video. It shouldn't take more than a couple of minutes, but I don't think anybody needs to see this progress bar just crawl for 6 weeks. So I'm going to pause this and come back when it's fully synced. Okay, we are all synced as is demonstrated by this little green check mark right there and no more progress bar right here. The next thing we have to do before we do anything else is lock and encrypt our wallet. So you're going to want to go right here and encrypt the wallet. Choose yourself a password. You know, password 1234 is not a good password. Just write something down that you're going to remember. And encrypt your wallet. It's going to give you a little warning. It's going to give you a pause. It might even freeze up for a few seconds. Don't worry about it. Don't click on anything. Just let it do its thing. Then when it comes back, it's going to tell you that it's going to close the wallet to finish the encryption. And as soon as you open the wallet back up, it is now an encrypted wallet. Let it sync up again. This shouldn't take too long, but the most important thing right here to do, and I'm telling you this is really the most important thing to do, is unlock your wallet right away. Make sure that the password that you put in works. And if it says unlock underneath right here, if you got a little, your icon looks like it's unlocked and it's green instead of red, I'm just going to lock it again to show you what it looks like when it's locked. It's just got a little red thing right in there and it's closed. So now you know that you can lock and unlock your wallet, which is great. That means that you can send coins in there and not have them locked in there forever. If you lose the passphrase, you're going to be completely locked out. There is no recovery. No one could do anything for you. So make sure you have this password written down somewhere safe. So remember to take down that information and store it safely. Okay, the next thing you're going to want to do is dump your wallet. First of all, let's back up the wallet right here. Do backup wallet. Put it on your desktop. Call it my first wallet. Backup, whatever. And you put it right here. So this is basically a copy of your wallet.dat file that's in your data folder. So you're going to want to keep this somewhere safe. This thing is encrypted with the password that you used earlier on. So if you try to restore this with another wallet, you're going to need the same password that you used to lock this one in the first place. Second thing you're going to want to do is dump your wallet. So it's another type of backup. You need to do this in the debug console, and you go dump wallet and the name of the wallet. So my wallet dump dot text. Now it doesn't tell you exactly where it saves it, but I'll show you right now. Remember we downloaded this wallet and it went to the downloads folder. Well, basically where the executable is where the dump file will be. So if your executable is in your downloads folder, or if you put a specific folder for it on your computer, that's where your dump file is going to be. And if we open this up, what it is it has a series of private keys for the addresses that it's running right now. So basically private key address, and it's got all this information all the way down for your wallet. To restore your wallet afterwards, all you would do is you would go into a brand new Atheneum wallet and you'd go import wallet, and then you'd put the same thing, the file name right here, my wallet dump. Press enter, and then it would restore all your addresses with associated private keys. So these are two ways of backing up your wallet. These two files right here, you're going to want to keep them in safe places. So these two you would put on a USB key, put it in a vault, and make sure that they're safe and they're accessible. So your wallet is now ready to receive the Atheneum necessary to start up your Masternode. Okay, so now that we're ready, I've gone ahead and I sent some Atheneum to this wallet for the purpose of this demonstration. So the first thing that we need to do is we need to create a new receiving address for the Masternode. So I like to name them MN01. You can name this whatever you want, as long as you keep a convention and you're comfortable with this. And what you're going to do is you're going to copy the address for this new address that you created, and you're going to go ahead and send 10,000 AEM, not 10,001, not 10,000.0001, exactly 10,000 Atheneum. If you send anything that's outside of that exact amount, the Masternode will fail because you will have an invalid input size for your Masternode. So you go ahead and send it. Now, if your wallet is unlocked, it's not going to ask you to enter your password, but if it is locked, it'll ask you to enter your password before you can actually get to send it. So the next thing we're going to have to do is look at the transactions. As soon as it starts to confirm that you've made a payment to yourself, you're going to have this little dial right here, which looks like a little clock. If you stay hovering over it, it's going to tell you it's got 1 of 6 confirmations. You need to get a transaction ID from this. You can copy it there, or you can actually even look at the transaction details. This is your transaction ID for that send. This is an important number because we're going to have to look it up afterwards, so you can copy it. And then go to your debug settings, your debug console, and go to Masternode Masternode outputs. Now, if you've got nothing that shows up here, it's because you don't have any confirmations yet, or the quantity of coins that were sent to that address is not the right amount. So go back a couple of steps and make sure that you've got at least one confirmation right here and that the number of coins are correct. If, however, you do have an output right here, that means that you've done everything correctly so far and you can take down this information. So basically, your transaction that we copied earlier on and the output, which is 0. You're going to need this information. Now, the best place to jot this information down would be in the file that it belongs to. So you can go ahead and open your Masternode configuration file. And right here, you'll see an example line, but basically all of that stuff is just commented out. You don't need any of that. So I'm going to start with MN01, which is the name of the receiving address that we created earlier on. Then after that, you got to put the IP address and the port. Then after that, it's the private key. We haven't done that yet. And the transaction ID and the output. Whoops. Now we've got those two numbers right here. The transaction ID is this, the TX hash, and the output is 0. So I'm gonna put 0 right here, and my TX hash is the number that is up here. And I'm gonna go ahead and save that right now. I don't want to restart my wallet with this information. It's going to create an error because obviously we have some more work to do in here. We've got to put in the IP, the port, and the private key. So this concludes the preparation for your wallet send. So we're halfway done. Actually, I would argue that this is probably the more complicated of the steps, because there's several steps to check and validate the first time you set up your wallet and your Masternode address. But now that we've done this, we've done the hard part, so the easiest part is to follow, even though, yep, we're going to be delving in a little bit of Linux. So that's coming up in the next half. Okay, so now we're on to part 2, which is the deploying of the VPS server. As I mentioned earlier on, I like using Vultr. They're very stable. So go ahead and create yourself a Vultr account or a DigitalOcean if that's your preference. There's some links down below to get to those services. And once you've created your account, go ahead and create a server closer to where you live. You're going to need an Ubuntu server. So choose the location. Then the next step, Ubuntu server, you need 1604. So make sure that you're using 1604, not any of these other ones. 1604 is the one that you want. And server size, all you need is a $5 a month one. Now, you could go with a smaller one. $3.50 a month is fine, but it starts to get a little bit taxed when you're starting to run more than one Masternode on a VPS. Because yes, you can run more than one on a VPS. I run up to 12 of them per VPS, 3 per coin, run 3 IPs, etc. I might do a more advanced video later on how to do that, but right now we're just going to cover this. I like to use the $5 a month one. So once you've done that, you don't need to do anything else. Just click on the deploy now, and it's going to create your server. So once it's finished installing, you're going to see your new server instance up. You're going to see the IP address, and you can click on manage, and you get all the relevant information to be able to log into your account. So two things that are important right here is your IP address and your password. You don't even need to look at the password. I mean, you can go ahead and take a look and write it down. But I mean, I just usually keep this closed and just copy the password and paste it directly. Now, for those thinking that I'm stupid enough to keep this up after this video, please don't waste your time. This server is going to be deleted as soon as I'm done recording this. So here's the password. I'm going to hide it now, and I'm going to connect to this server. So what I'm going to do for this is I'm going to open a terminal session. You can open it on right here by either doing terminal. It's the same thing for Mac and OS X, you'll do right now SSH root, which is your username, at the IP address. Press enter. And the password, copy the password here and paste. And you are now inside your VPS right here. Now, alternately, if you are on Windows, you're going to want to use something called PuTTY. So let me just exit out of this and run PuTTY. It's pretty much the same principle. You put in your host name or IP address. Actually, I'm going to save the session, so I'm going to name it. Where is Firefox? Firefox, there we go. So my IP address is this. So the host name is root at, like we put in before. And we're going to save this as MN01 and save. Now I can double click on this and it's going to open a session directly. If it asks you right here to download the host key, you say yes, that's not an issue. You put in the password that we've got here by copying it and right click. Now, when you right click, you're pasting the information directly. So you right click once, don't worry about there not being any stars or feedback, and you press enter and it puts in the password. See, if I right click, poof, it puts the password right in. So remember that when you're right clicking into a PuTTY window, it does not give you any kind of feedback. A lot of people get confused with that and think that they're not able to paste, but yes, the right click on the mouse is your paste. So now we're in. I'm going to stay with the PuTTY window because it's pretty much the same thing whether you're doing PuTTY or SSH. This is an SSH window for Windows. So now that you're in here, we can go into the next step, which is copying the scripts. Now to go and get the latest installer script, I'm putting a link that's up here. This is going to be different in production because we're going to put this under the Atheneum repository. The links are going to be in the description below. The README for the link is going to show you pretty much the same instructions I'm giving you right now with a bit less detail, but they're illustrated. You can follow this as well. It's also a good reminder when you're setting up your next nodes as well. But what we're interested in is this last one right here. So copy this entire line by triple clicking on it. Double click will get you a word. Single click doesn't do anything except put the cursor where you are at, but triple click copies the entire line. Right click and copy this, and then in here we're going to do a paste. Before doing that, I just like to have a larger window to see what we're doing. So right click and paste and press enter and just follow the script. Basically it tells you it found one IP for this machine. So you confirm that you want to put it on that IP by putting in the IP address that you see above that is available. Why this step? Well, this script also supports installing multiple masternodes on the same machine as long as it's got more than one IP address. So it gives you that kind of flexibility. So you press enter right here. It just wants a confirmation, verify the numbers. I'm a big fan of measure once, measure twice, cut once, and not measure once and cut a whole bunch of times and have to scrap your project and start over again. So confirm that all your numbers are correct. Click on yes. Now right here is going to ask you for the information that we got earlier on. So let me just minimize this and I'm going to open up this again. So I'm going to copy this and I'm going to paste it here. Remember, pasting is right click, and we remember that the output was 0, this. So I'm going to write 0 right here. Enter the alias for your new master node. We've got it here. It's MN01. And then you just wait. This only takes a couple of minutes. It installs the prerequisites for you on your machine, and it's going to download the binary files and set everything up for you. Most importantly, it's going to give you the masternode line. You can see the little progress bar right there, but the masternode line that's going to replace this one entirely once it's done. So this is going to take a couple of minutes. I'm going to pause the video here. Okay, now that it's done doing the prerequisites, it's going to start the daemon and do everything that it needs to do to start and configure your wallet automatically. You don't have to go in and modify any configuration files like you have to do with a lot of other masternodes. This one is fully automatic. So keep on reading here, and it's going to tell you ignore any errors you see below. So don't worry about this. If you see a couple of errors, it's taking care of it. So now we've got this line that I was talking about, MN01, with the IP address, with a private key that it's generated itself, and the outputs that we put in earlier on. So I've selected this. You don't right click when you select anything, you just go and highlight it. That's it. That is actually copying it to your clipboard. So go ahead and highlight that, and then triple click this line to delete it, and right click here and paste to paste that entire line. It might go on more than one line if your font is ridiculously big like mine right now, but this is all actually one line. It just wrapped. Let me just show this to you right now. Preferences, and go to fonts and colors. Bring this down to something a bit smaller so we can see this, and you can see this is all on one line. So your masternode line is printed on one line right here. Go ahead and save that and close this. Now it says press any key to continue synchronization steps. When you've gone ahead and done that, press any key. Now it's going to start the synchronization. It knows which block it's supposed to be at. 23107, like this. So it's going to sync this automatically right up to 23107. So I'm going to go ahead and pause the video right here and come back once it's finished doing this. Okay, once it's finished synchronizing, obviously it's going to go through the blockchain synchronization, then masternode sync stage. Then it's going to give you this line right here. It says that after pressing any key to continue below, go to your masternodes tab, my masternode EQT wallet, and start alias on your new node. It's only going to give you this when it's noticed that your transactions have at least 15 confirmations, because below that it's not going to allow you to activate your confirmation, your masternode, but it will do this for you. It will check that. So the next thing we do is just, as it says, go to masternodes. And obviously we don't see anything here because I need to restart the wallet. So restart the wallet so it can read that masternode file that we did earlier on. And once it's finished completely resynchronizing right here, which could take a minute or two, you go to the masternodes tab and you activate it, which simply means clicking on the masternode, clicking on start alias, and clicking yes. And there you go. You got your message, successfully started masternode. Alternately, there's another way you can do this. Now to start that masternode, you very simply go into your debug console. Easy enough. And you go start masternode, alias 0 MN01, which is the name of your masternode. So basically what you're telling it is start the masternode with the alias of MN01 and do not unlock the wallet afterwards. Just leave it in whatever state you had it before. So you press enter there, and you see it is automatically, it tells you that congratulations, you've set up your masternode, everything's good. You are now the proud owner of a new masternode. If you update your status here, instead of waiting the 30 seconds, you'll see it as enabled. And after an hour or two, you're going to see it as active and starting to count down. Don't be worried if you don't see this counting down right away. It needs to mature and it needs to be broadcast throughout the network before you can start getting any kind of rewards from this. Now, before ending this video, I'm going to cover a couple of essential commands to know for your masternode. So basically, if you want to know if you're on the right chain, you go cd Atheneum, which is where we've put in the binaries. You're going to see Atheneum CLI is your client and Atheneum D is your daemon. So in other words, the binary that is responsible for representing your masternode. Atheneum CLI is how you'll interface with that. So if I want to know, let's, for example, what block I'm at, I'll go Atheneum CLI, get info. And you'll see that you're at block 23112, which is probably the same as your wallet, which is a good thing. If you want to know the status of your masternode, your synchronization status, you can look at it here. You see that your requested masternode asset is 999 and you are synced. So this gives you a little bit more information. And if you want to know if your masternode is up or not, you can go masternode status, and it tells you that masternode is successfully started for the TX hash that you set up as collateral and the receiving address for that masternode right here. So this covers pretty much all that information. If you want something a bit more friendly, there are scripts that exist that I've built that has all that information. One of them is called info page, and let me just get that really quick. It's also going to be on the official Atheneum page, but right now I'm just going to get it manually to show you what it does. wget, and maybe if I copied the URL here, it'd go a lot easier. Copy the URL there and enter and make it executable. And then execute it, info page sh, and it shows you all that information, what protocol it's on, the version, number of connection the wallet has to the to other nodes on the network, number of blocks, the coin supply, if the masternode sync was successful. So this is a lot friendlier, and those scripts are available for download along with others as well. So I hope this helped people get their masternodes up and explain a little bit how this works. So this concludes this video. If there are any questions, please don't be shy. Hit us up in the support channels in our Atheneum Discord. Take care and good luck.